good morning. Thank you very much for your patience. Good morning, distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, faculty members, and participants. Welcome to the kick-off ceremony and roundtable series of the NWA Imagining Modernity project titled Colonial Archives and the Reimagination of Arts Pedagogy and Cultural Knowledge. My name is Ardana Riswari. I'm a lecturer at the Faculty of Art and Design, Institut Teknologi Bandung, and also currently a PhD candidate at the School of Art and Design, Australian National University. I'm honored to be your Master of Ceremony for this significant three-day event. This project addresses critical questions about the complex knowledge construction surrounding ancient Hindu-Buddhist sites and objects in Java, examining how colonial and post-colonial frameworks have shaped our understanding of cultural heritage and arts pedagogy. Before we proceed, I would like to provide just a brief safety induction. ITB is committed to the highest standards in security, health, safety, and environmental protection for all resources and facilities on campus. So all individuals, including guests, are expected to understand and follow ITB's general guidelines for security and OHS to maintain a safe environment. So every individual, including yourself, is requested to take time to understand the activity and work location by getting familiar with the evacuation routes and emergency exits. Please find any committee member to get information for first aid kits if needed. You are now in Soemardja Gallery at the Center of Art and Design building. Emergency exit are located at the behind, so through the double glass doors, while the assembly point is located at the field outside of the building. If you see a field large enough with trees surrounding it, that's our nearest assembly point. If evacuation is necessary, the accompanying committee or security will guide you. Every individual, including yourself, must help maintain the cleanliness of the building or area and dispose of waste in the provided trash bins. Every individual, including yourself, is advised not to leave belongings unattended for security reasons. Smoking is not permitted inside buildings and within the ITB campus area,
Recording in
except
progress.
in designated smoking areas. Make sure cigarette butts are extinguished before disposal in trash bins. There is no emergency drill planned for today, so if the danger alarm sounds, then actual emergency condition is occurring. Please stay alert. Today we begin with the singing of Indonesian national anthem, followed by a special spiritual cleansing ceremony, reflections on the program from our research leaders, and welcoming addresses from our institutional partners, and enlightening keynote speeches from our distinguished speakers. So as is customary for formal events in Indonesia, let us now stand to sing the Indonesian anthem, Indonesia Raya.
Sanalah aku berdiri, jadi pandu Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita berseru, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanahku, hiduplah rakyatku, bangsaku, rakyatku semuanya. Bangunlah bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah badannya untuk Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya.
Thank you. Please be seated. We will now prepare the spiritual cleansing ceremony. I kindly ask everyone to observe respectful silence as the preparations are being made. You may join the spiritual ceremony outside of the glass door. So if you would like to stand up and then join the ceremony outside, or you can also join in from the screen inside of the gallery. The spiritual cleansing ceremony will be led by Pinandita Insinyur Gusti Ngurah Agung Djanardhana. This ritual acknowledges the sacred nature of the cultural knowledge and objects we will be discussing throughout the program. So if you would like to join me outside for the ceremony, or you can stay inside and then join the ceremony from the screen. So the ceremony will proceed around 45 minutes, but due to limited time, we will convene again in the inside the gallery after 10 to 15 minutes. You are also invited, if you would like to sit down inside, you can. If you want to stay here and then watch the ceremony, observe the ceremony silently while standing, you are also welcome to. The ceremony will continue for about another 20 minutes. You are welcome to take a seat inside if you need, or you can also enjoy the coffee break that we have provided inside this room, but you might need to take another door to get to the snacks we provide. Again, if you would like to make yourself comfortable by joining the ceremony inside while sitting down, you are welcome to. Or if you want to, you can stay also around here.
ciri nama. Kumara itu adalah putra Siwa. Kenapa mengambil putra? Karena dari situlah menjadi benih. Siwa itu kesucian. Saya dari garis kesiwan. Nah, dengan meletakkan di sini, kita memohon agar benih-benih kesucian itu kemudian tumbuh dalam, karena pikiran, kalau kami di Hindu, semua persoalan berangkat dari pikiran, minds. So, by cleansing your minds, you can get a healthy life. Gitu. Jadi silahkan dilanjutkan acara yang berikutnya.
Sudah selesai, silahkan dilanjut.
Thank you very much for the beautiful ceremony, Pinandita. I welcome you if you would like to enjoy the refreshment that we have provided in the small room. There are coffee and some snacks. And then we will reconvene in 5 minutes for the next event. Thank you. you're still around Soemardja Gallery, I welcome you to come inside and take a seat. We will resume our event soon. You can take your coffee and snacks with you inside the gallery. Okay, thank you very much. To proceed to the next event, which is reflection of the program, I would like to invite the head of the Imagining Modernity Research Program, Dr. Kiki Rizky from the Center of Indonesian Visual Art Studies, Faculty of Art and Design, ITB, to share her reflections on the program.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Salam Budaya, Salam Kebajikan, Rahayu. Distinguished guest, Dr. Nurdian Ichsan, MD of Faculty of Art and Design di Bandung. Indonesia. I see here also with us Professor Wijaya Ratakusuma, Dr. Agung Sari, Vice Dean of the Faculty of Creative Industries Telkom University, Professor Malika Bumbersen from KITLV, our research partner and our mentor, keynote speakers, dear colleagues, friends, honored guests. As we begin this significant journey together, I stand before you with sense of deep gratitude and humility. Today marks not only the formal commencement of research and work, but also a moment of spiritual and ethical reckoning. When I first encountered the archives and the institutional record of the place I now affiliated to, this very institution, I never imagined that the journey would become so deeply personal. At the time, our goal was clear. We wanted and feel the need to begin constructing our institutional memory, our campus memory, the memory of knowledge and history inscribed within a range of documents and collections. We started this initiative in 2017, continuing the conservation effort that has been carried out by Soemardja Gallery in the early 2000s. Now, the Center for Indonesian Visual Art Studies has grown and become one of the laboratories for art and art history under the Faculty of Art and Design ITB. What I did not expect was that these institutional memories would intersect so much with my own personal memory. One facet of this research seeks to examine ITB and its legacies from multiple perspectives. Among them, one that has felt especially significant is the environmental and social perspective, the kampung, the neighborhood, the people who live, grow, and dream around the Ganesha campus. I was born and raised in an urban kampung just next to ITB. For us, growing up, ITB was not only an institute of higher education, it was garden, a sanctuary, a place where we took morning Sunday walk, and in the whispered prayers of our mothers, around me always wish, Gera gede, gera lumpat, gera sekolah di ITB. May you grow up fast and being able to study at ITB. I eventually studied here, and now I teach and conduct research in this very institution. And I found myself undertaking a research project that integrates the history of the campus itself. When we ask how ITB shaped and be shaped by its surrounding environment, for me the question is no longer merely academic. profoundly personal. I have needed time to situate myself to clarify what perspective do I represent, who am I in relation to this archive. This institution or this landscape, how do I speak or through what lens? Over the past 2 months, we've engaged in intensive reading sessions, carefully dissecting essays and book chapters that we hope will help us answer our research question. What we found instead were new, unexpected questions. What kind of representation am I trying to inhabit in this research? What stories am I part of? And what voices can I carry? These are not questions I will resolve today, or even in this very short reflection. But perhaps this is where we begin, by allowing the question to remain live, by letting our feelings, mind, and spirit wander through possibilities. This morning closing ceremony led by Pinandita Insinyur Gusti Ngurah Agung Djanardhana remind us that the sacred dimension of the work we do, we are not simply entering a field of data or textual inquiry. We are stepping into a sacred terrain shaped by memory, reference, and the enduring presence of ancestral knowledge. In the months leading up to today, many of us have encountered experiences that possess explanations. Moment of unease, inexplicable dreams, affective intensities. At first, we struggle to name them. In local epistemologies, they might be described as anchor, a charged presence that resists institutionalization. But gradually, we came to understand that them not as interruption, but as invitation. Call to reframe our orientation toward these materials, not as passive object of study, but as bearers of memory, presence, and agency. The term anchor has no longer appeared in local narrative, but it also emerged in the writing and expression of Western archaeologists, often used to describe the uncanny atmosphere surrounding temple ruins, for example, and the reluctance of local communities to disturb, relocate, or reconstruct them. Rather than engaging the ruins through modes of reference and cosmological significance, these interpretations were frequently filtered through the terms such as imagery, hybridity, or mysticism, concepts that obscured indigenous epistemologies like kepercayaan, pencanderaan, personifikasi, or dewani. These epistemes signal a very different kind of relation, one that recognizes the lifeless of the forms and the ethical demands they might place upon us. Today, we recognize that the Hindu-Buddhist statues and sacred objects we engage with not only merely historical artifacts, they are part of living spiritual ecology. They carry stories, energy, and ancestral connection that may not fully reveal themselves through academic inquiry alone. This ritual, then, is not just formality. It is a mode of asking permission, an embodied, collective acknowledgement that we are not standing over this object, but besides them. It is a gesture of alignment. It is invite us to reposition ourselves, not as an extractor of knowledge, but as participants in a relationship, not as listeners. As principal investigator of this project, I carry both responsibility and sense of reference. My hope is that this research not only produce academic insight, but also open a space where multiple epistemologies, intellectual, intuitive, and spiritual can coexist, where colonial paradigms are not only critiqued, but actively dismantled. Let us proceed with attentiveness to the silence in the archive, to the vibration in the materials, and to the ethical demands that exceed our citations. Let this ceremony serve as compass of our collective work, orienting us towards humility, reciprocity, and care. In the next 2 days, we will continue our dialogues through a series of roundtable discussions. As our dialogue partners, we have invited colleagues, alumni, scholars that are now reside all over the world. They conduct research, doing doctoral degree, they asking questions, enrich our history and understanding of knowledge. These sessions will offer space to explore pressing concern from conservation challenges, environmental or political, to the complexities of the colonial research, knowledge making, and pedagogy. I hope you'll join us in this conversation and allow the question to continue growing together. May we be granted clarity not only through the mind, but also through the heart and spirits. And may this journey yield not only knowledge, but also wisdom. As I close this reflection, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to all those who have made this, today's event possible. To my mentor and research partner, Professor Marika Bumbergen, thank you for your enduring guidance and trust and patience. The consortium members, dan thank you for your shared vision and the richness of our ongoing conversations. To the dedicated team who has worked tirelessly behind the scenes, Tika, Aziza, Hazim, Hilmi, Aziz, Samuel, Binda, Galeri Soemardja team, Culture Hub ITB team, support has been invaluable. So I extend my heartfelt thanks to entire FSRD ITB team, my colleagues at the Aesthetics and the Sciences of Art Research Group, the Center for Design team, and Ibu Ari for hosting this from this morning. Thank you so much. And to all of you whose name I may not have mentioned, please know that your contribution is deeply appreciated. To my esteemed colleagues and guests who have joined us this morning in person, or through online Zoom meeting, thank you for your presence and support. I would like to sincerely thank the Dutch Research Council through the Dutch National Research Agenda for their invaluable support and trust in this collaborative research endeavor. It is my hope that our continued work together will not only deepen our understanding of the past, but also foster more inclusive and equitable approaches to the future of art education and cultural knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. for those insightful reflections on the vision and also the goals of this research program. We are also honored to have with us the co-applicant or Kiki's mentor of the Reimagining Modernity Research Program, Professor Marika Bumbergen from ITB. We now invite her to share her reflections.
Bisa dapat PowerPoint? Saya juga mengucapkan sangat terima kasih atas Dr. Kiki Soetisna, mentor saya juga, dan teman-teman di CIVAS ITB, UNPAR, e-commerce, Telkom University dan Rijksmuseum Amsterdam untuk kerjasama dalam proyek ini yang sangat menarik. Saya juga terima kasih atas kejadian untuk hosting a special kick-off gathering and a round table the next day. So what brings us together here is things we can see, 22 sculptured stones, or archa as I will refer to them, and what we cannot see, the spiritual forces they contain, Kiki just addressed, and that are just ceremonially attended to by the priests to make them invite us to join together in exploring their possibilities. We are concerned about this set of 22 archa, Hindu and Buddhist figures and ornaments originating from a diversity of ancient temple sites in Central and East Java, and about the question why and how they came to post here on the campus of ITB, and what it may tell about ITB and its surroundings. And they are here since, we think, at least the 1950s, and we are interested in what they may be able to do and tell us to get further. They are connected to Van Raymond. Can I have the next slide? Architecture inspector at the Colonial Archaeological Service, who became a professor of architecture at ITB in 1954. How they got here precisely is as yet unclear. One of them, a 15th century statue of Benji, comes, we know from sources and from art historian Lydia Kieven's work, from as far away as Chinese Selakalia on the mountain Pinandita in East Java. Another, as the Bandung Office of the Archaeological Service recently found out, may derive from Candi in Central Java. For all the others, the provenance is less clear. Together, they provide, in the light of present-day restitution debates, an interesting case. First, we are looking here at objects that stayed within Indonesia. Until now, the debates and claims regarding restitution have been exclusively focusing on what was carried away from Indonesia to the Netherlands. Second, the place where they are now is unusual in the light of heritage politics. And that circumstance may be enlightening. I'll get back to that. 22 Arja. They can tell so many different stories about beliefs and fears, negotiation with nature, royal politics, scientific interests, and memories and greed. They are heavy, weighing material matter that nonetheless have been carried away from faraway distances. They are disconnected from building structures from which they were meant to send messages or lessons from, of the Buddha, of royal wars transformed into fictional heroic narratives of the Panchi, or to watch over pilgrims seeking unity with the higher unseen. They reflect, thus, many ambiguities in the light of questions of restitution and decoloniality. I mentioned two. First, they are disconnected from local memories, which would have reshaped, it's one ambiguity, sorry. So they are disconnected from local memories, which would have reshaped and transformed them. In that sense, they reflect physical and epistemic violence. But at the same time, there's the ambiguity. Ironically, here at this location, a site alternative to museums and official archaeological sites, they are and have been, in a way, freer in comparison to museum objects caged in glass vitrines or behind or at gated temples with ticket offices. They are not, or not yet, hindered by the frameworks of art and beauty, by authorized heritage discourse, by scientific determination or global standards of conservation. That's why I'm also delighted that Kiki included this personal narrative and how local communities here may have something to do with the Arja. So they are, as yet, containing possibilities for new histories to tell about Indonesian culture, about arts and tools for new trajectories for art historical teaching, and stories about ourselves. They can tell alternative stories that may not always be nice stories, but insightful for how we deal with each other and with our natural world. But we have to find ways to release these stories, like in the cleaning ritual by the priest we just attended. Being here in Bandung and not anymore watching over rice fields or mountainous forests and sublime vistas, the statues reflect, amongst others, a practice of carrying away ancient objects from sites for which they were made and of which they are architectural part or became part of nature again, and then to other places in and outside of what is today Indonesia. Notably, this practice of carrying statues away is more common than we think and not restricted to colonial times. It is still going on. For example, Lydia Kieven noticed the gradual disappearance of reliefs and statues during her research visits at Gunung Penanggungan since the 1990s. That process of taking has many facets we might need to look into more systematically. It entails first the act of taking, which necessitates more than one perspective. And second, techniques and mechanisms of exchange
that make the object move and that, in a next phase, supported the networks of trade or illegal trade or scientific questions. These all reflect mechanisms of exchange and interdependency that deserve more systematic research for colonial and post-colonial times if we wish to understand what restitution may be about and what it might enable. I think I need a new slide, I'm not sure. At their sites of provenance in Central and East Java, the statues that connect us here have been witnesses of contemporary hermits, pilgrims and believers, of colonial and post-colonial archaeologists, of art historians and historians. Through their subsequent travels in time and space, and through the exchanges they became part of, they carry with them histories of epistemic violence and of scholarly queries and greed in the form of love. As of yet, I said it already, we know little of the precise circumstances in which they were taking and along which trajectories of exchange they ended up here in Bandung. But now that they are here since at least 70 years and subject of a research project that addresses responsibilities of care, the question that lies in front of us may be not only where do these statues belong, but how and to what and whom can we make them belong and for what purposes? How and why should we care and who is in charge? Now back to the problem of restitution. You may have observed that by using the word belonging, I avoided the concept of restitution here. Recently, the Indonesian archaeologist Nurdian argued that the present-day global calls and efforts to decolonize culture, academia, heritage institution, as it also develops in Indonesia, is merely reflecting, and I quote him, a Dutch problem. Indeed, the Indonesian case regarding damaged sites and looted or taken objects assigned as cultural heritage is partly steered by Dutch-centered queries to decolonize museums and heritage institutions and undo past injustice, but also by two national framings of history and restitution practices that exclusively focus on the colonial period and its potential legacies. And, I said it already, they focus on what is carried out of the country through loot, war, booty, selling or gifts under pressure, etc., and not so much on objects that got disconnected from their sites of origin and the local memories that shaped them, but that remained within the borders of what is now Indonesia. And then again, we are here facing a set of taken objects that are relatively free from such framings. What are their possibilities? How might we release the stories the Archa may be able to tell and that can lead us beyond, further, and break open these framings? Of course, this requires research and imagination. Just as an experiment, let us zoom in on the one statue that we know a little bit more about, the Panji statue of Candi Selokelir at Gunung Penanggungan. The statue, the temple, and the sacred mountain called Suffering. We can take them as a lead. What do we see, what we did not see here, if we follow the Panji statue back to its place of origin, there, which we will do next month? And what can we make of the traces we have about how and why, no, just wait, how and why it got disconnected from the mountain and the temple? So first, the Panji statue, pictured here at ITB. I skipped the characteristics. We can discuss later what we see here. As I learned from Kevin's study, it is part of the Panji stories and Panji cult of the 15th century, which reflected contemporary war and royal competition, as well as the advance of Islam. According to Kevin, this statue to contemporary pilgrims, served as a mediator between the sacred and the mundane. Then the mountain, Penanggungan, one of Java's most sacred mountains, peculiarly shaped by a high peak resting on four lower mountains. It is recognized by scholars as a natural mandala. It figures in ancient sources as the god-sent top of India's Mount Mahameru, fallen from the sky. Potent water pooled at the foot of the mountain gave rise to Jolotundu, an ancient sacred bathing site. Hermitage caves, shrines and settlements on its slopes signify human pilgrimage. Chandi Solokalir was one of them. Since the early 20th century, the mountain, now this is the next slide, the mountain and the temple of Solokalir transformed through what are referred to as archaeological interventions, that is, practices and politics of archaeological research and collecting. Colonial administrators, coffee tailors, archaeologists, architectural experts, local elites and villagers played various crucial roles herein. These interventions, describing, documenting, surveying, photographing, excavating, disconnecting, transformed the meaning and outlook of sacred sites and objects on the mountain dramatically, as well as of the sacred mountain in itself. The mountain has become now, still officially, also a mundane site deemed rich for archaeological research, serving to locate grand, formal civilizations of the past. However, at the same time, archaeological reports since the 1900s reveal the parallel, ongoing local engagements with the mountain, with the sites, and with unsculptured stones located where they fell from the mountain, through name-giving, revealing alternative meanings of sites, reflecting local memories. Next slide, please. Okay. On Chandi Solokalir, as Kievan also remarks, already from the first colonial descriptions at the beginning of the 20th century, observers became aware of the local naming of the site. Such toponyms also became a method of archaeological research. When Dutch administrator Broekveld visited the site in 1900, he noted that local people called the temple Watu Kalir. From Watu is Indonesian for selo, is stone. Kalir meaning screen. It could imply, so Kievan concludes, that people compared the temple with a stone screen for wayang performances. It also just reflects the ways people at Penanggungan have been given their own meaning to what came from or was built and left on the mountain they named too. Penanggungan, from tanggung, meaning suffering or taking responsibility. Something to rethink in the light of practices and ethics of care across the nature-culture divides. But when, how and why was the Panji statue carried away? In the past 2 days, I followed the leads in the archaeological sources further in other ways, focusing on Chandi Solokalir specifically. It turns out scholars actually wrote it down. Keeping it short, Chandi Solokalir, described and documented archaeologically in 1904, 1914 and 1915, received new visitors in 1935. A private person, a German pharmacist based in Surabaya called Gol, also a self-made archaeologist, began with the support of the Oudheidkundige Dienst or the Colonial Archaeological Service, excavating around Chandi Solokalir. Triggered by letters of him on his exciting findings, soon his friend, archaeologist Sutterheim, would join him. The third crucial researcher in this context was the Javanese Ichwani, opzichter-tekenaar or architectural inspector. And there were the indispensable local actors, guides who led them to places, whom as my colleague Fenneke Sisling would argue, did all the work. The findings were tremendous and exciting in the framework of archaeological science of that time. And this is where the fate of Chandi Selokelier and the Panji statue changed dramatically. Unfortunately, the sources we saw do not yet reveal the precise circumstances, but some statues, reliefs and fragments were transferred from their excavations at Penanggungan to Gal's home in Surabaya, intended for a museum to be raised there. So, herewith, the mountain and the temple lost the Panji lost its base. We do not yet know more about the plans for that museum, or about who were involved in the taking and taking away. But what we do know is that further in time, in 1941, driven by concerns about the expanding war in the Pacific, the Archaeological Service, apparently in charge, decided to move Gal's collections of statues to the Archaeological Office at Prambanan for security reasons. As Mrs. Oei Blom, one of the few women working at the Archaeological Service, noted, this collection, enlisted in a register at Prambanan we hope to find, included the Panji statue, even though the Panji statue was not on that registration list. And she wrote, it was still there when she wrote down her report in the late 1940s. At the time when the Panji statue arrived in Prambanan in 1941, Van Romont was based there as bouwkundig inspecteur, or architectural inspector, leading since 1931, amongst others, the restoration of Candi Siva at Prambanan. So here we have a moment and a place where the collection of Gal, including the Panji statue, may be connected to Van Romont, the future professor of architecture at ITB. This and there is where the Panji and Van Romont met. And we may also have a clue for perhaps more from Penanggungan in the collection here in Bandung, and a potential explanation why an object from Prambanan ended up here as well. But this is all speculation. And this is also where the lead stops for now. Can I have the next slide, by the way? Oh yeah. I end with some observations and questions we might take along during our discussions the next 2.5 days. First, intriguingly, when Kiven writes about the Panji at ITB in her chapter on Candi Selokelier, she does explicitly wonder about the precise original location of the statue at Candi Selokelier. But she does not question how and why it ended up at ITB. This may have changed for her since then. She is very much engaged with restitution matters today. But this way of looking at statues and temples is not unusual in art or archaeological thinking. There at Penanggungan, both the ruin, and here at ITB, the object at a modern art institute, they are imagined for their original full form. The absence at Candi Selokelier and the new context of ITB are disregarded. So maybe, that's my first point, it is time to see both sides as starting points to imagine possibilities for new living stories and engagements, amongst others with the environment. The ruin without the Panji was already alive as Watu Kelier. The ancient statues at ITB are free and open, now they have been ritually attended to new questions for new creative and engaged futures. Second, and maybe now can do the next slide. What are the ethics, responsibilities, and practices of care in this multi-sided history, in the entangled practices of private collecting, like Gal, and official archaeological research that also in late colonial times were restricted by a heritage law? What, moreover, do we see when we zoom in on local practices of care, taking, exchange, and receiving? Third, what does this carrying around with ancient sculptured stones within Indonesia mean for questions of restitution? What can restitution be about in these contexts? What forms can it take? What can it enable? And finally, following the Panji on his travels, it, or he, can tell stories of local lore that complicate the framings of official heritage politics, show alternative forms of local agency and imagination that serves negotiations with the forces of nature, stories we might learn from in the light of climate change, and that can be useful both for environmentally engaged art historical teaching and the wider creative industry. So, can I move back to the previous slide? Let the Panji speak. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Bloembergen, for the very interesting, various perspectives, valuable perspectives as well, on the collaborative research initiative. Now, I have the pleasure of inviting the Acting Dean of the Faculty of Art and Design, Institut Teknologi Bandung, Dr. Nurdian Ichsan, to deliver a welcoming speech.
Thank you, Ari. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Distinguished guests, Profesor Dr. Johannes Widodo, Pak Wijaya Kusuma, Professor Marike, and also our partner from Faculty of Creative Industry, Dr. Arini Arumsari, and also representative for Faculty of Philosophy from Parahyangan Catholic University, and also Dr. Kiki Rizky Soetisna Putri, Principal Investigator of the project and lecturer at FSRD ITB. Keynote speaker, panelists, and consortium, representative, college, researcher, student, and friends who present in person in gallery this morning, also online. It is great honor for me, on behalf of Faculty of Art and Design, ITB, to welcome you to all to this important event, the kick-off ceremony of our collaborative research project, Imagining Modernity, Colonial Archive, and the Reimagination of Arts, Pedagogy, and Cultural Knowledge. This project marked the beginning of significant journey in exploring of importance of Hindu-Buddhist status, or archa, which have been part of our institution for some time. The question driving, as Bu Kiki mentioned, this project also important. We aim to trace the history, origin, and journey of those archa, how they come from, and why they are here with us today. Our goals are far-reaching. We seek to understand the relationship between the archa and modern Indonesian arts and design curricula, as well as to reimagine the potential historical and cultural significance of this object. We are grateful for the support of the Dutch Research Council through the Dutch Research Agenda, and for the collaborative spirit fostered by this international consortium. We are proud to have this project hosted by Center for Indonesian Visual Arts Studies, and we also appreciate to the support of Aesthetic and the Science of Art Research Group, Galeri Soemardja, and Culture Hub. Also for our partnership, our partner KITLV, Rizky Museum, Telkom University, Parahyangan University, and ICOMOS. I believe that each member of this consortium will make their own unique contribution as this project progresses. Over the next 5 years, I hope this project will produce new collaborative academic knowledge and also nurture a community of researchers. We would like to thank the Center for Preservation of Cultural Heritage, Balai Pelestarian Kebudayaan Wilayah 9 Jawa Barat, and Balai Pelestarian Borobudur, who will support the conservation process of the Arca that is scheduled to begin next week in May. We are also grateful for the contribution of the conservator and archaeologists who will be involved in this project. Their expertise and collaborative spirit are essential to the success of this project. My highest appreciation to all the keynote speakers, panelists, and contributors who will share their insight during tomorrow's roundtable series. Also congratulations and thanks for organizing team for their thoughtful effort in preparing this event. Thank you. Hatur nuhun. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiatu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nurdian Ichsan, for your warm welcome and support for this important academic endeavor. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Rudi Setiawan, SAG MM, Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Philosophy, Parahyangan Catholic University, as one of the research partners and consortium members to deliver his remarks on behalf of the Dean.
First of all, please allow me to extend apologies on behalf of Father Ote, Dean of the Faculty of Philosophy at Parahyangan Catholic University, who is unable to attend today's meeting. He is currently serving elsewhere in his capacity as a Catholic priest and has requested that I, as a Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Philosophy, represent him and deliver these welcoming remarks. We at the Faculty of Philosophy of Parahyangan Catholic University are delighted to welcome this research collaboration. It is truly an honor for us to be involved in this joint research project. Through such collaborations, our modest campus gains valuable opportunities to learn extensively from renowned universities such as Leiden, ITB, and other institutions in Bandung. The research project entitled Imagining Modernity, Colonial Archives, and the Reimagination of Arts, Pedagogy, and Cultural Knowledge is currently gaining considerable attention among scholars. This collaboration was initiated by lecturers who are committed and deeply invested in Indonesian art, culture, and history. Several preliminary meetings as part of the preparatory phase have already been conducted, including one hosted recently by our faculty. We firmly believe that this collaborative research will provide significant contributions both to academia and society at large. Through the exploration of ancient historical artifacts in Indonesia, which hold substantial yet unexplored scholarly insights, these are numerous opportunities for reflecting on our Indonesian identity. Behind the complex and sometimes controversial quest for an authentic national identity lies a creative potential fostered through artistic and cultural approaches. This potential can help shape a more civilized, meaningful, and continually evolving communal life. We hope this collaborative research will enhance our appreciation for our culture, strengthen our pride as Indonesians, and continually deepen our sense of humanity through collaborative efforts and the pursuit of global peace. We would like to express our sincere gratitude for the successful research collaboration thus far. It is our hope that such collaborative research effort will continue to be organized more frequently and become mutually transformative experiences among Leiden, ITB, and all participating institutions. The Faculty of Philosophy at Parahyangan Catholic University remains open and committed to further collaborative research endeavors. We place great emphasis on issues related to arts and culture and are committed to contributing philosophical insights within these fields. In conclusion, we would like to extend our deepest appreciation to Dr. Kiki, Rizky from ITB and Professor Marike Bloembergen from KI Delphi for their invaluable contribution to this research collaboration. Our gratitude also goes to the keynote speakers, panelists, faculty leaders, distinguished guests, organizers, and all those who have contributed to making this event possible. Welcome to the kick-off event and roundtable discussion series, which will commence today and continue over the next several days. May this event be successful and inspire enlightening new perspectives. We sincerely thank you for your attention and look forward to the conversations and insights this event will bring. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rudi Setiawan, for those thoughtful words and also for representing Faculty of Philosophy at UNPAR in this collaborative event. I will now welcome Dr. Arini Arumsari, M.Ds, Vice Dean of the Faculty of Creative Industry, Telkom University, as one of the other research partner and consortium members to deliver her remarks on behalf of the Dean.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, speakers, researchers, and students, whether joining us in person or online, thank you for your presence. Allow me to begin by expressing my heartfelt respect and appreciation to the academic leadership of Bandung Institute of Technology, Acting Dean of FSRD ITB, Dr. Nurdian Ichsan M.Sn, as well as the Vice Dean, Head of Research Groups, Study Programs, Research Center, and Laboratories within FSRD ITB. Warm regards also to our respected colleague from Parahyangan Catholic University, Dr. Rudi Setiawan, Acting Dean of the Faculty of Philosophy. And we are deeply honored by the presence of Dr. Johannes Widodo, founder and executive member of ICOMOS Indonesia, and of course Professor Marike Bloembergen from KITLV, and Dr. Kiki Rizky Soetisna Putri, principal investigator of this project. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Arini Arumsari. I am speaking today on behalf of the Dean of the Faculty of Creative Industries, Telkom University, who, due to the pressing commitment at the Rectorate, sent his warmest greetings and full support for this important collaborative initiative. It is a privilege to represent our faculty and to affirm our shared enthusiasm for the work we are embarking upon together. For us, this ceremony and the roundtable discussion mark more than just the launch of a research project. They signal a collective commitment to critical inquiry, intellectual exchange, and interdisciplinary engagement. We hope this initiative will evolve into a dynamic dialogue, reflection, and transformation space. At our faculty, the Faculty of Creative Industries Telkom University, our vision is to become a national center of excellence, entrepreneurial in spirit, grounded in the richness of Budaya Nusantara, and aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals. Yet we recognize that vision, especially those grounded on cultural identity, must remain open to improve. They must respond to shifting ecological, social, and intellectual contexts. We see this initiative as an opportunity to unsettle inherited narrative and to co-create new pathways of thought, rooted in lived, layered, and plural histories of Nusantara, the archipelago we call home. And this critical impulse also resonates with our institutional journey, born of a merger between Stisi Bandung and DKV, Visual Communication Design, IM Telkom. Our early curricular foundation were shaped by the pedagogical legacy of FSRD ITB, a legacy we continue to respect. Yet, from the beginning, there has also been a desire to inherit and innovate. We have consistently asked ourselves, what would it mean to develop a curriculum that does not merely reproduce but reimagines, one that responds to the evolving dynamic of the creative industries, the lived realities of our students, and the urgent social and political question of our time. And this research collaboration gives us a rare and meaningful opportunity to embody this question in practice. It invites us to participate as contributors and critical interlocutors, attentive to marginal voices, open to epistemic plurality, and unafraid to challenge the convention of art and knowledge production. In this spirit, we express our sincere gratitude to our institutional partner, CIVAS, Galeri Soemardja, Culture Hub, KITLV, Universitas Parahyangan, ICOMOS Indonesia, and the Rijksmuseum for making this collaboration possible. In closing, let me emphasize that our participation in this initiative is not only institutional, it is also philosophical and pedagogical. It reflects a shared commitment to cultivating knowledge that honor the past, engage the present, and imagines more inclusive and just futures. We look forward to the journey ahead with open minds, thoughtful question, and a firm belief in the transformative power of collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Arini Arumsari, for the words and also for highlighting the importance of this research from the perspective also of the creative industries and the network of universities in Bandung. As we are well before the time that we're supposed to do the inaugural speech, we have time for picture. So I would like to invite the institutional leaders, so the representatives from all institutions, FSRD ITB, and then also from Parahyangan University, from Telkom University, as well as from KITLV, Bu Kiki, Pak Wijaya, Professor Yohanes, you are welcome to be on the stage as we take picture, because we still have time for the inaugural speech. Photo time. Yes, you can stand here. Yes, Parigi from the faculty will take the picture. Pak Bambang, please join us as one of the keynote speakers. Also joining the picture are the researchers We are still waiting for the rector to give his inaugural speech, so we still have a bit of time because we are still well before the time they're supposed to give the inaugural speech. You can still enjoy our refreshment from the room next to us if you haven't had your coffee and your snacks. We still have 10 minutes. welcome to Rector. Welcome Bapak Profesor Dr. Insinyur Tata Cipta Dirgantara MT. And also our Vice Rector, Bapak Dr. Adrianto Rekrekusmara. Thank you very much for your presence. It is now my distinct honor actually to invite you, Professor Dr. Insinyur Tata Cipta Dirgantara MT, as Director of Institut Teknologi Bandung, to deliver the inauguration speech for this event. You may take this stage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and selamat pagi untuk semuanya. Distinguished guests, Dr. Nurdian Ichsan, Acting Dean of the Faculty of Art and Design, Vice Dean, Heads of Research Group, Study Program, Center and Laboratories at Faculty of Art and Design ITB, Dr. Rudi Setiawan, Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Philosophy, Parahyangan Catholic University, Dr. Bambang Sugiharto from Parahyangan Catholic University, Dr. Arini, Vice Dean of the Faculty of Creative Industry, Telkom University, Dr. Johannes Widodo, Founder and Executive Member of ICOMOS Indonesia, Professor Marike Bloemberger, our research partner, and Professor at KITLV, Dr. Kiki, Rizky Soetisna Putri, Principal Investigator and Head of this research project, Kiki, Pak Wijaya, Profesor Wijaya Martokusumo, my senior, our keynote speaker, distinguished scholars and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests. Thank you very much for the invitation to this meeting. This is an honor for me and a great pleasure and a privilege actually to welcome you in this kick-off ceremony of the research project Imagining Modernity, Colonial Archive and the Reimagination of Art, Pedagogy and Cultural Knowledge, as well as to announce that this 5 long years of the project will be officially started. This event is not merely a formal beginning of multi-year research endeavor. This is also a critical moment for our collective reflection about the role of higher education like ITB, KITLV, Parahyangan University and Telkom University, the role of research and practice-based institutions such as Center of Indonesian Visual Art Studies, Galeri Soemardja and Culture Hub, which are all under the Faculty of Art and Design ITB, also Rijksmuseum and ICOMOS, in confronting, rethinking, and resituating the arts, design, and cultural knowledge that has long been shaped by colonial legacies. ITB, since its founding as a Technische Hogeschool de Bandung in the colonial era, has held a unique and complex position in the intellectual history of Indonesia in terms of developing the physical infrastructure of this country, also contributing the intellectual discourses of modern Indonesia. We stand today in the same physical and epistemological space that once functioned within a colonial framework. We humbly need to continuously be reminded of the significance to critically re-engage with the foundation upon which our educational tradition were built. The sculptures reside within our campus, many of them originating from the Hindu and Buddhist past of the archipelago, has long been part of our institutional collection. The archa are here around us, inside the buildings, and have become a part of our landscape. Most of the time we acknowledge their presence. In another moment, we simply forget and ignore them, actually. Most of the engineering students maybe never know that there has been such a treasure here in ITB, actually. What this project aims for, I regard, is the attempt to excavate the archa in order to place them in respective space. So they are not only merely remnant of a distant history, but they are witnesses to the layered narrative of the displacement, preservation, interpretation, and reinterpretation, in the sense that the archa are also active participants in the knowledge that have made us and we hope to produce in the future. To that end, ITB considers this artifact as an invaluable intellectual and cultural asset object that demand care, contextual understanding, and sustained scholarly attention. We are deeply supportive of the upcoming conservation process that will take place now and in the next coming days, and we are grateful for the collaboration with the Balai Pelestarian Kebudayaan Wilayah 9, as well as the conservators and archaeologists who will be involved. This is an essential step not only in preservation but in repositioning the relationship between academic inquiry and cultural responsibility. This research project, generously supported by the Dutch Research Council, NWO, through the Dutch Research Agenda, NWA program, which is research into collection with a colonial context, is an important example of the international collaboration that does not only extend across border, but critically consider them temporal and spatial. It brings together researchers from diverse disciplines and institutions to co-think the intersection between archive, pedagogy, and the future of cultural knowledge. At ITB, we see this project as an opportunity to re-articulate our academic mission. It affirms our belief that knowledge must be produced, not in isolation, but in dialogue with the past, with others, with the communities it intends to serve. So, before conclusion, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to all members of the Research Consortium, especially our colleagues at the Faculty of Art and Design, Center for Indonesian Visual Art Studies, Galeri Soemardja, Culture Hub, and all other partner institutions, KITLV, Telkom University, Universitas Katolik Parahyangan, ICOMOS Indonesia, and the Rijksmuseum who have made this initiative possible. May this project unfold an open space for critical inquiry, careful listening, and meaningful engagement. And may it also inspire us to look again at what has been left in the margin and to imagine future where knowledge is shared more equitably and preserved more responsibly. So, by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I am honored to officially open the kick-off ceremony of Imagining Modernity. Thank you for your presence and your participation. Hatur nuhun. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Professor Tata Cipta Dirgantara, for your enlightening word and also for officially inaugurating this important academic program. So we will now break for lunch. For our guests, please enjoy the refreshments provided in the next room. And for our VIP guests, you may follow Bu Kiki to the dining room upstairs. And on the way there, you will actually pass the archas, which are the center of this research project that have been spiritually cleansed through a ceremony this morning. We kindly ask everyone to return promptly at 1 o'clock for our keynote sessions. Thank you. So the picture will be taken in front of the archas. Kindly follow Bu Kiki outside to see the archas, and then to also take the picture. Thank you so much. For our Zoom participants, we will resume at 1 o'clock for the keynote speeches. Thank you.
Recording stopped.